Everyone in the pack knew it. Malcolm had spent his life wiggling out from under the shadow of his father's cowardice. And he had. After Dominic, he was now the best fighter in the pack, and among the mutts, his reputation for ruthlessness surpassed that of every other pack werewolf. But when his father looked over, there was no pride in his face, just a lifting of his chin, listening in on the younger men's conversation, making sure Malcolm wasn't saying anything to embarrass him. As they drank the champagne, the cleaning girl stopped by to wipe off their table. She murmured something that was probably meant to be "excuse me," but her thick accent and whispered voice rendered the words unintelligible. The girl didn't speak more than a dozen words of English. Malcolm figured the only reason Vincent had hired her was because he could pay her half what he'd pay anyone else, her being a Jap and all. Still, it had to be bad for business. How many ex-GIs came in here, saw her, and turned around and left? Malcolm wasn't sure whether the girl really was Japanese, but it didn't matter. People saw slanted eyes and they saw Pearl Harbor, and 5 years wasn't enough to make anyone forget. The girl paused at Malcolm's side and lowered her head. Wally grinned and kicked him under the chair. Malcolm leaned back to let the girl wipe his place. Unlike the quick swipe she'd given the others, she made sure to get every spot, including a few that had probably been there for weeks. When the girl finished, she scurried off and intercepted Vincent with Malcolm's fresh beer. She took it and returned to the table. First, she wiped a spot for the mug, then she wiped off the mug itself, and finally she laid it before him like a ceremonial chalice. As Malcolm grunted his thanks, snickers raced up and down the table. The girl pointed to the nearly empty bowl of peanuts nearest him. "Sure," he said. "Fill it up." When she scampered off with the bowl, Wally hooted. "That girl has it bad, Mal. Gets worse every time we come here." Malcolm only gulped his beer. "Hey, come on, Mal. Think about it. She waits on you like that in public. Imagine what she'd do for you in private." Another chorus of snickers. "Not my type," Malcolm muttered. Dominic leaned forward. "Because she's Japanese? Nothing wrong with that. From what I hear, they're damned eager to please, if you know what I mean." Billy nodded. "Buddy of mine at work has one of them for a girlfriend, on the side, of course, and you wouldn't believe the stories he tells. Ever heard of geishas? All their girls learn some of that shit, and they'll do anything to make a guy happy. Nothing's too kinky." Dominic cut him short as the girl approached. "What?" Billy hissed. "She doesn't understand English." "Doesn't matter," Dominic murmured. When she was gone, they started up again, regaling Malcolm with tales of Asian women. "And," Dominic said as they finished, "unless my nose is wrong, there might be a bonus." "Just what I need," Malcolm said. "A slant-eyed Jap brat." His father looked over sharply, frowning his disapproval. Billy snickered. "You're going to get a talking to later, Mal." Malcolm snorted and pretended it didn't matter. Edward wouldn't give him a talking to. That implied anger, and Edward never showed that much emotion with his son. He'd calmly speak to him about stereotypes and prejudices, and counsel him to make better choices with his opinions and his language, all the while clearly doubtful that his words were having any impact. Malcolm was a fighter, not a thinker, to Edward's everlasting disappointment. "You should give it a shot, Mal," Dominic said. "Don't worry about who the mother is. Look at Ross Werner. His mama was black and you can hardly tell. With us, it's the male blood that counts. Women?" He shrugged. "Just the vehicle. At most, you might get a kid with dark hair and dark eyes, but yours are dark enough anyway, wouldn't matter. And," he leaned closer, "you never know. A little foreign matter in the mix might be just what your boys need to get the job done." Malcolm gritted his teeth. Dominic always sounded so sincere, like a big brother who really wanted to help. But Malcolm knew he'd like nothing better than to see Malcolm humiliate himself.